Welcome. You are listening to the Be a Better Being podcast hosted by Michelle Zellner and Sasha Berscheid. Michelle and Sasha are here to give you information and inspiration to help you live your healthiest, happiest lives. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Greetings. Thank you for tuning into the Be a Better Being podcast. I'm Michelle Zellner, your host, and my awesome side host is with me today. Hello, Sasha Berscheid. How are you?
Hi. I'm pretty sure I heard a little kitten too. So
Yes, Bodhi has assumed her position. This started about 6 months ago, where she hops on the coffee table and she stares at me and cries anytime I'm recording a podcast. And this is also how I teach my virtual classes. So I have a perpetual audience who is screaming for treats. So yeah, if you hear that, nobody's being tortured unless you consider not getting treats at your beck and call torture, which I mean,
I consider that torture.
kind of, yeah. But she's gonna be fine.
I know she's going to be fine. It's so amazing to see you. I'm excited to ask you some questions that have been lolling in my head. Like when I'm going to sleep, I'm like, oh, I need to ask this. Oh, I need to ask that. And so now that we've celebrated your big 5-0, I'm excited to ask you about, your decades. So do you care if I just jump into it?
Girl, you can do whatever you want. So
Here we
take it
go.
away.
So here's my first question. We're going to label each decade. We're going to give it either a title or I know. I'm sorry. I didn't
You are
preface
so putting me on the spot right
I
now.
am still putting you on the spot.
That's okay.
But here we go.
Okay.
So from your 10 to 20, so your teenage years, I know. Is that how you want to label it?
Yes.
Is that how you would label it? Okay. So from 10 to 20, we're going to label it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there was 10 to 20. Those are so many different things, from adolescence to teenager to adult, literally in that decade, right? And I don't know that there's really any other span of time where you go through all of those changes. And as a child of the 80s, I mean, I was looking back through old photos. I think I actually sent you one showing you just how fashion forward I was in my prom dress and my gigantic hair, because that's what we did back then. It got a little chuckle out of you, I think. It gets a chuckle out of me every time.
Okay. So then we think about our 20s, our entire 20 tenure. How do you feel about that?
So I would say my decade of my 20s were some of the absolute best times, and fun and wild and memorable, and I mean, things that were being, the foundation was being laid that never in a million years would I have anticipated they would still be in my life today. Also, some of my most horrible experiences in my 20s. First, real relationship, and real heartbreak, life shattering at that point in my life, not knowing or thinking you had it all figured out. And then, well, I guess your plan was not somebody else's plan. So now what are you going to do? Also, that was the time when I was probably at my lowest point physically, and then made the shift to get to a place where I could start to move towards my best point physically. So, I mean, my 20s, there were so many things. Good, bad, ugly, literally all across, and I would not change any of it.
Okay. So if we had to compare do we call them your 10s? Your 10s to your 20s? Which one wins? 10s or 20s?
Oh, the 20s, hands down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I would title that decade Good, Bad, and Ugly. I love it all.
I love that. Now let's head into our 30s.
Yeah.
Let's unpack the 30s.
I would say the 30s were my first decade where I was like, wow, this is the best time of life to be alive. I don't even knew that I had the wherewithal to even think that in my 10s and late teens, whatever. I certainly, even if I would have thought to think it in my 20s, I wouldn't have, but in my 30s, That's where I felt like I was hitting my stride professionally. I had purchased my first home that I owned in my late 20s. And then I purchased my first rental property in my 30s, and another one in my 30s, and another one. And then I moved to the big city of Denver out of, the outskirts of Boulder. So I felt like I was just moving on up, like literally. Professionally, everything was clicking. I healed my shattered heart and I was just having a blast living the single life. Friendships were very, very strong, meeting new people as I, now live in a fancy dancy high rise condo in basically downtown Denver. Just meeting lots of different people and just having more exposure to things. That was super fun. Having a bit of financial freedom now that I am making a decent living and doing it all on my own. And yeah, my 30s. My 30s were also when I got married for the first time. And that was amazing to finally meet your person and really truly believe that this is why I waited till I was 35. This is what I was waiting for. Only 3 years later to be informed that, well, yeah, this isn't going to last forever. So again, some of the most incredible and amazing times. And then probably, and I would still say this is the case, my absolute worst and hardest thing to go through. Yet I feel like, like everything else, right? You look back on things and you either choose to learn and grow, or you choose to stay mad, you choose to stay resentful, you choose to stay a victim. And I sat in that space for a little bit, I'm not going to lie. And then I realized, okay, well, you can sit here all you want. It's not going to change it. And I think it was, really going through that towards the tail end of my 30s and early into my 40s that I probably made the biggest leaps forward with my own personal growth when it comes to how to navigate really hard stuff and things that you probably would say, oh, you didn't deserve that. You're right. No, I didn't. And yet here it is. So what are you going to do with it? So learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about the people who were in my life, learned that not everybody wants you to win. And I think that might have been the first experience that I actually became aware of that, like acutely aware of that. And then also learned that there may have been some people in your corner who weren't fully supportive, but they were the first to be there when you needed them. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of tearing that went on in my 30s, and there was a lot of repairing that went on because people chose to do that work. So yeah, 30s. Wow. Again, a very mixed bag, but I would say explosion of growth. That's how I would contemplate my 30s.
I like that you said moving on up. So
Yeah.
that's how I would chart
Yeah.
those.
Okay.
So here
I like that
here
better,
comes
better.
here comes the next question. 20s or 30s?
Oh, 30s, 100%.
Okay.
100%. No doubt. Easy.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And next question, tell me about your 40s.
40s. Gosh. So it's funny that you were asking all these questions going through the decade because I, send out my monthly email and blog, and I was going to write, oh, now I'm 50. And I thought, you know what? This is a new decade. I need to reflect on the decade. So if you read my blog, it might sound a little familiar. You should read it anyway, because there's things in there that I'm not sharing on the podcast. But anyway, yeah. So as I thought about that, like literally at this very moment in time, 10 years ago, like this very moment, the words "I'm divorced" came out of my mouth for the first time to somebody who was not in my immediate circle. And at that time, I wasn't planning to say it. It was just we were chatting and you get to know somebody and well, and I had no idea how triggering that word was going to be for me. Now, I've never judged anybody who's divorced. I have lots of friends who are divorced, lots of friends who come from divorce. It's fairly normal these days. It's been fairly normal for a long time. It is not normal in the Zellner family. And so I was the first, in my immediate family to get to bring that to our our space. And it was yucky and it felt gross. I felt disgusted in myself and just saying those words. And just that interaction with that particular person, I actually write about this in my book because is one of those experiences that everybody is in your life for a reason at a time. You may never know what that impact is. And that person that I said it to, we were fairly, surface acquaintances and we didn't know each other. It was a work capacity that we knew each other. But just in the other capacities that I'd interacted with him, he was kind, he was funny, he was self-deprecating, he could take a joke. And he happened to be the person I said it to. And just the way he reacted, and here's how it went. We're in a very public environment and I said it, and then I like literally start crying and I have to walk away. It could have been received in so many other ways, and just the way he received it and didn't make me feel weird or goofy or anything. It was something I needed at that time. So it helped me kind of process like, wow, that's a really big deal, and a kind of like a little scar in my own mind that, yeah, I'm divorced. It's fine. It just at that time was really, really weird. But that was also a catalyst to helping me like, okay, you need to really process, why is that such a triggering word? And you need to really process through that. And a lot of it had to do with the experience and the way it all came about and how it all happened and all of it. And then what ended up happening years and years later. So yeah, lots of emotional challenge and growth in those first early years in my 40s. And still professionally, things are going amazing and just new and different things. We'd gone through the major financial crisis that at the time when I was married, my husband and I navigated together and came out relatively unscathed, even though he was a financial advisor and I was a personal trainer. Nobody's doing either of those when the stock market crashes and everybody loses their jobs. So knowing I had been through something that bad and hard and came out fine, honestly, makes me know I will be fine no matter what. Now, I mean, clearly there could be some major thing going on, but it builds your resilience to know that you can get through stuff, you'll get through other stuff. And also gave me the perspective to recognize that when things are good, let's celebrate and embrace it, but let's not get complacent. Let's not get cocky. Let's not start thinking you're Miss Fancy Pants and can start doing whatever you want because it's good today doesn't mean it's going to be good forever. So yeah, I think I spent a lot of my 40s just continuing to try to grow, try to evolve, try to remain relevant. It was during that time where a lot of professional growth happened because really amazing people in my network trusted me and asked me to come and perform and deliver different types of wellness services for them. And it pushed me and challenged me professionally, which helped me grow exponentially. Of course, I wrote my book in my 40s, and that was huge, like bigger than huge. And now here we are. I mean, the last few years feel like they have whizzed by. I mean, from 45 to 50, I don't even know how 5 years has gone by at all. And it's hard to go back and like go back and do the dates. Like, oh yeah, oh no, yeah, that happened then and that happened then. Of course, with COVID and everything got in total time warp. So I do kind of feel like I missed a couple of years, but I think everybody feels that way. And yet here I am. I'm 50 and it's awesome.
That is amazing. So now you know what question's coming next.
Okay, so hold on though. I need to label my 40s.
Okay.
And I know we don't cuss on this channel, but here it goes. They were fucking fantastic.
What just happened? That's amazing. That just filled my tail's wagging. She did it, everyone. She did it. That's amazing. So if I had to, I don't even know why I'm asking after you labeled it that, but if I had to ask between your 30s or your 40s, which ones won?
Hands down 40s.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to walk through this with you is to provide hope for if you're listening to this and you're in your 20s, right? Because I did not enjoy my 20s. My 20s were very stressful and full of anxiety. And I'm sitting here 35 years old and I'm like, wow, I love my 30s so much more than my 20s. And I am looking at you in awe 'cause I'm just like, you make me excited to gain age and wisdom. Like I'm totally cool with and I think you were one of the first people that made me realize that it's not about not looking your age or, but it's about aging well. Like everyone ages, but now we need to do whatever it takes to age well and healthy. So those were a couple of things and I wanted to point out that when you're younger, you think, oh, they're so old or they're this or whatever, because that's what society has told us to look at age. But now I'm like, I'm excited to see what the next decade or the next 5 years or the next 20 has in store because, the last 5 years were better than the 5 years before that. So thank you so much for sharing all of that stuff with us. And thank you for cussing.
Hey, I even say it in my book, a well-placed F-bomb is sometimes necessary. And, I mean, that's the thing is if you are always living your life looking back at the good old days, you're just wasting so much time because the only thing that's ahead of you is the future. So, um, when people ask, well, is there anything you would go back and change, or what would you tell your younger self? I wouldn't change anything because everything that has happened and I've gone through has led me to be able to say my 40s were fucking fantastic. That would not have happened had I not chosen to do hard work, right? Didn't mean I just sat back and amazingness came my way. I did hard work. I did hard work on myself. I made hard choices. They weren't always the right choices, and yet every choice is the right choice because it's the one you made. So, I think a lot of my own growth and transition really came when I focused on what I can control, and that is me. I control me. I control what I think, feel, say, and do. I choose to have the attitude I have. I choose, how I spend my time, money, and energy. And as I've gone through life, I have realized that the more intentional you are with those choices, and the more they align with what is important to you, with what your goals are, with your core guiding principles, with what you want to bring to the world and show up, how you want to present, the more joyful your life is going to be. That's just the only way it can be. And it doesn't mean that they're easy choices. That's almost always the case. It is hard. And yet the hard choice usually leads to a better outcome later. So, years ago I adopted that mantra, hard now or harder later. And I try to live by it. I really do. And, there are times where you think you are making the hard choice in the moment. It turns out there was a harder one that if you would have made that one, that's probably the one you should have made. But that's also how you learn and grow. I used to spend a lot of time, beating myself up. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. You made that mistake. You shouldn't have done this. And then I realized, like, what's the point of that? Let me learn and grow from it so I can move on and do it better next time.
Yeah, you're on fire today. I totally agree. And
That's what happens when you're 50.
Yeah, girl. Yeah,
That would
girl.
be the title of the decade of the 50s.
Yeah,
On
so
fire.
now
I'm gonna put that out
on
there.
fire.
That's my title.
That was my next question is what would you like to set forth for yourself? So now you said, you're on fire, you're trailblazing your 50s. What else?
I honestly am not somebody who's like, oh, 5 years from now, I want to be doing this. I've never been that person ever. I look at things in a relatively short time frame. I go year by year. So you and I are going to have our final chat of the year, at the end of the year, and we're going to talk about what that future looks like. But everything that I set forth for the next year, is based on what happened in the previous year. So I already have my word, my theme for 2023. I'm not going to divulge it yet. But yeah, I think, it just going through so much and reflecting. I love that we walked through all those decades. So thank you for that. But even just as I was reflecting on my decade of the 40s, when I was saying those words, I'm divorced 10 years ago, this very moment, you could not have told me that we would be doing this, talking about that 10 years from that moment. Who could predict that? It wasn't even a thing. So I know there's going to be great things. I'm going to set my intentions for what those great things are. And I'm just going to challenge myself to continue to learn and grow and be a better being and practice what I preach. And I think that's all I can do.
That's exactly where I seem to find myself right now, is practice what I preach. Right? Like, it's hard, but you have to do it, because not for other people, but for yourself, And so one of the things before we hang up this topic that I do also want to say or just call out is, it is 100% okay to get divorced. It's 100% okay to stay married. It is completely up to you what feels good into your cerebral system. And maybe all your life you've been, dogged that divorce is terrible and you're a terrible human being if that. No, it's not the case. It's literally just you're divorcing someone. Like, you're not doing life with someone. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you're looking for hope, or if you're wanting to stay in your marriage, do what's best for you. Do what's best to make you a better person, and don't worry about what society says. Just make sure that what you're practicing and what you're preaching is ultimately going to make you a better human, a better being.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. I think, I would say most of the people who have really significant challenge with divorce are the ones who didn't ask for it. Right? I did not want to get divorced. That was not my choice. I have many friends who that was not their choice. It was forced upon them, because that's what happens when you have two people in a relationship. It takes two yeses and one no. That's it. And it's hard when you are the one who is on that other side that doesn't want it. But okay, I can resist it all I want. It's still going to happen. So let me accept reality and then figure out, all right, what do I do to get myself moving on so I can continue to live a life? And that's any breakup of any kind, whether it's a marriage, it's a friendship, it's a family, interaction, it's a job. Once we understand that reality is reality, the best I can do is what I can do in the reality in which I'm existing, not the one I wish I lived in or the one I was supposed to be living in, but the one you're actually living in. And I know for me, when I really embraced the idea that I did everything I could, and this is the reality. Okay, now I'm going to do everything I can for me to be okay and to get to a better place.
Amen, sis. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of that and for dropping the F-bomb one more time. Probably won't hear it for a while, everyone, but it happened.
Yes. Speaking about doing everything you could, let us talk about you, my friend, because we have a couple of things to catch up on. Number one, I want to circle back to LIT.
Yeah.
For listeners, if you haven't listened, I did a podcast on Sasha's event, LIT. It's an amazing women's empowering network group that she created and turned into a scholarship fund to help support a LIT lady who is venturing down some business path. And that scholarship has been awarded. So I want you to tell a little bit about that. And then we got to talk about your other amazing thing.
Sure. So LIT Inc. was created this past year. And essentially, we throw a massive fun party, luncheon, workshop, networking event on my lawn. And we had 250 women show up, which was incredible. And Michelle was one of the guest speakers. And all ticket proceeds go into a scholarship. The scholarship totaled $2,250, which was amazing. There were some other women who donated items like coaching, headshots, financial planning. And we did give that out to Alejandra. So Alejandra owns Viva Fit Kitchen. She's 29 years old and she has a heart of gold. And one of the things that I just absolutely loved and stood out about her is what she was doing with the money. And so she was taking half of the proceeds to invest back into her company to be able to hire someone, which is huge for her. And then the second half of it is she's actually creating another scholarship to pay it forward. So she is going to primarily be helping set up or she'll be setting up a scholarship for a high school girl whose parents are immigrants. So someone who is the dream act type of kiddo, and I'm really excited to see what happens there and what blossoms from her being lit. And we will be doing it again this next year. A little things are going to be changing. We are adding more board members. So in January, we'll be adding more board members to that nonprofit just because it wants to grow. The nonprofit itself wants to grow, and I cannot do it myself, right? I can't do all these things as best as I possibly can. I can't be a full-time mom, of a full-time employee, a full-time nonprofit, hat wearer, all these things. I need help, and I need to help delegate those things. And so I know that there are so many women that are in lit that would love the opportunity to become a board member. And so in January, we'll select probably about 6 more women to add to the board, which will be huge for lit and also huge for me. And I've just been so thankful for everyone who's been on the journey and who sees the vision and believes in the vision. And I'm very excited to see what is to come of it. So that is lit. Alejandra is super excited. I'm excited to help her. She's also having a business shower. I'm sure you guys have seen those pictures online that's like, why do we throw women who have baby showers, but women who decide not to have babies and decide to have businesses, why don't we throw them a business shower? So we're throwing her a business shower, and that'll be fun. And the next thing that's really going to be taking over my life is Project Intentional. We sold out that event in less than a day, which is wonderful, but broke my heart. I can't tell you. I was more stressed out that we sold out the event in one day than I wanted to have it take like 2 weeks to sell out, because now my heart breaks. I'm getting constant emails of moms who are wanting to be adopted. We adopted 650 moms. We got all of the calculations back. It's an average household of 4 people, including the mom. So it's a mom and 3 kids. So this holiday season, we will be adopting 2,600 individuals here in Omaha to give a gift to, and just to make their season brighter. But to say that I'm not stressed would be such an understatement.
It's a
I'm
big
stressed.
undertaking. Yeah,
It is.
your winter wonderland, it is amazing. I got the glimpse of it last year, and it has grown tremendously. You got an amazing donation to
Yes.
help fund this year, which I would love for you to talk about a little bit.
I would, yeah, absolutely. So that huge shout out to Jordan Grady. She pitched Project Intentional to her church, King of Kings, and they had used your motto. Apparently, they were listening to you this last year, and their motto was all in. And so they said that if every single member did their tithing, but then additionally just cut one check of all in for $20.22, they would be able to pick out 13 nonprofits. And I mean, lots and lots of monetary support and donations were able to go out. So King of Kings were selected us. Thank you, Jordan Grady, for pitching us. And they gave us a $15,000 check. So that was huge. That is huge. That's how we're going to be able to do what we're doing. Our mission this year is to get every kid either a new pack of underwear or a new pack of socks. And then we're also partnering up with Toys for Tots. Toys for Tots is donating 1,300 toys to us. And so we are taking all of our resources, even though they will be spread thin, but we're doing whatever we can to leverage our community, leverage volunteers, supporters, and the thing that breaks my heart is knowing that this pack of underwear, this pack of socks that these kids are getting might be the only pack of underwear or the only pack of socks that they get for the entire year. And that just brings me to tears. That is heartbreaking to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that there are a lot of people in need. And, you're just talking about Omaha, right?
Oh
We're
my
talking about every city nationwide that
God.
has a similar or more need. And this year might be a lot harder because of inflation and all the things going on. And next year might be even harder. Who
I know.
knows, right? And that's the thing.
Yeah.
So I know it's hard and heartbreaking, but I hope that you can turn that around and look at, no, this is actually amazing. I mean, I would love socks over a lot of other stuff I've ever gotten.
I
So
agree. When I was growing up, my mom, for our birthday and for Christmas, we always got a pack of socks, and I would always just be like, "Mom, this is so silly." But then as I got older, I was like, "Damn, Mom, you're amazing." I mean, we all know how much I already love my mom and whatnot. But yeah, now I look at this, and even yesterday, I had to run to the store really quickly to go get batteries. And the sock aisle was right in front of it, and a pack of three underwear, or whatever, for men is like $12. I'm just like, this is really, I know to kids when they receive it isn't anything magical, right? Like, mom, you got me socks or you got me underwear, but like, it's a big deal. It's the number one and number two asked for items last year were socks and underwear. And then the number three asked for item was menstrual products. So, we'll be handing out a menstrual item for each mom too, if need be. And this year the event is going to be on two different days. Last year it was only on one day, and we are doing shorter hours. We're only doing 4-hour pitches at a time, and it's going to be from 10 to 2 on Saturday and 2 to 6 on Sunday to help hopefully with the mom schedules. And we'll just keep growing, and we're going to have growing pains, but our focus is on doing it right and being intentional. And we're going to have over 25 different nonprofits or professional resources there that the moms have to go through and visit at least 12 of them before they can go in and go shopping. So educating and empowering before they even go shopping, they're going to be filled with so much gratitude by the time that they end. I know what we're doing is right. It's just a lot of hard work on our end, and it's a lot of stress on our end too, but that's what we were made for. That's what I was made for, was to do this. So I'm being intentional with my time, my talent, like you say, and this is what I'm putting all of my extra time into, is these nonprofits.
And I have to say, I'm really proud of you because early on in our conversations, you had these grand plans for expansion and do it here, do it there, right? Let's roll it out nationwide. And I love that you have that grand plan. And then you took a step back and realized, maybe I got a little ahead of myself, and reining it back in and doing it right in a smaller capacity versus, running yourself into the ground to make something else happen. That's also not okay. So
It's not
just
okay. That's
for,
where
for
I
your,
was. Yeah.
right, for yourself, taking that step back, recognizing that you need to be okay so that you can continue to do all this amazing work that you do. And I know it's hard for you to take a step back because you are Sasha and you are the girl that can do it all, but recognizing that you can't do it all by yourself and still be a healthy, happy human yourself, I think
Correct.
is a big light bulb. And a lot of people have not yet gotten that switched on for themselves. So maybe you're listening to this and you realize, like, you know what, I can do it all, but I can't do it all myself. And I can't do it all and still be a healthy, happy human because that's part of the all. Right? Feel like, oh, I can do it all, except like they are suffering physically, mentally, and emotionally. I'm like, okay, so then you're not doing it all because you are a part of the equation.
I 100% agree. And it can't, that whole idea of me wanting to do it nationally and all this stuff, that came to me this last January when I was on my sabbatical. And I'm going to be taking the whole month of January off myself again this year. But like, why would I try to go on a mission trip all over the world when my city isn't healed? So I need to just stay put and heal my city and put all of my efforts and my love into the city that I love. And just work here, because if we do it right, then it will have a ripple effect, and hopefully eventually people will come to our city and say, we want what you have. We want what this city has, and how can we get it? And we just point fingers to one another and say, well, we did it because we were, lit for one another, and we had love and intentionality for one another. So we'll see. But yeah, as of right now, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying in Omaha. I'm staying put, even if it's freezing cold and I have seasonal depression. It is what it is. I'm stuck in Omaha. This is where I'm claiming it to be mine.
And they are incredibly lucky to have you there. Yeah, we're in December, right? We're in the midst of the hardest months. I'm with you there on the whole. It's dark, it's cold. I do not love it. This is one of the reasons I made a very deliberate effort to get out of Wisconsin. I don't do well in a environment like that. And getting to live a lot of years in Hawaii was amazing. I mean, Colorado is pretty amazing. It's such a fallacy that, oh, it's so cold there. You don't know cold. No, Denver, I mean, it's no secret anymore. We have more sunny days here than anywhere in the country, and sunshine is amazing. Even if it's 30 degrees or it's 10 degrees, sunshine is still amazing.
I agree.
Yeah, so we just got to get through these hard weeks, and then the days will start to get a little bit longer, and we'll have a little more daylight each day, and then all of a sudden it's March, and that's how
All
it
of a
works.
sudden it's March. But before we get to March, are you going to tell us? Can you tell us?
Yes,
Please?
yes. So a little sneak peek of one of the things that will be official in 2023 is, so it's already formed, but the official kind of, first grab at everything will be next year, is my nonprofit called the Be a Better Being Foundation. And I have for many years now been trying to support entities that are involved in enhancing, guiding, teaching, nurturing, supporting, empowering little people. And by that, I mean children, young people, to be better beings. I don't have kids myself, as we all know by now. And yet it's the kids who are going to be running the world when I need them. So I am a little bit selfish in this. I would like a healthy, happy, high functioning population to be able to take care of me. Unfortunately, it's not going in a really great direction. In fact, it's going in a horrible direction, from lack of nutritional education and lack of properly feeding our children and teaching them how to feed themselves, lack of movement, constant connection to devices, not a lot of training when it comes to emotions, understanding emotions, processing emotions, working through emotions, right? We're not taught these things. And so there are lots of organizations out there who are doing these things to help kids learn things, how to grow into healthy, happy, thriving adults. And that is the mission of the Be a Better Being Foundation. Similar to the Lit Scholarship Program, I thought, how am I going to do this? So I'm going to have grant applications. How much the grants will be worth depends on how big the fund in the foundation is. But basically, we're going to start out with one, offering a year, and you apply for the grant. You just tell me how you're going to use the funds, and the board will select the grant recipient. And that's kind of the framework of how this is going to look. The first fundraising opportunity is the virtual vision board workshop, one that I've been hosting for several years now. And it's always donation based, meaning if you want to participate, you donate whatever amount you think it is worth. Okay, none of this goes to me. None of it goes to my speakers. It all goes into the foundation. So you want to come and pay $10 for a 4-hour workshop because that is the tip of your budget. That's amazing. You want to drop $1,000 into that workshop because there's value and you have the means to do it and you think the foundation is going to do good things. That's amazing. So that virtual vision board workshop, save the date. It is January 21st. It will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Time. All the details will be in the email, in the newsletter, the next podcast that we have, and all the show notes. There will be links to register. But for now, just save the date. It's awesome. Sasha spoke at it last year. I have assembled another amazing lineup of speakers for this year. She's going to be off doing something cool, so she can't be at this one, but I know you'll be there in spirit. So yeah, that's kind of my big new thing. That's one of them. There's a couple others I will be sharing next year when they show up on my vision board, but I'll let that one out of the bag now.
I am so excited you let that one out of the bag. Also, there's just so many cool things that you let out of the bag today. And yeah, I have been dying to announce that. I am excited and honored and humbled to be asked to be part of the board. I am a nonprofit. I love nonprofits. Nonprofits are amazing as long as they are who and what they say they are. But I'm so excited to help you with this nonprofit. I think it's needed now more than ever. I think it gives hope and it helps empower. And you don't know, this might just change the trajectory of this youth's life and confidence boost. So I'm so excited and honored to be a part of this with you. I'm very proud of you for doing it and for, yeah, allowing all of us to be a part of the process.
Well, I am so grateful to have people like you in my life. And honestly, part of Be a Better Being is to surround yourself with people who challenge you. And I have so many people in my circle who have their own nonprofits, who do this kind of work. It wasn't something that I grew up with. I've for a long time donated. I will donate to all kinds of things and support financially in ways that I can. And I do think it is time in my life to do it a different way. So if I have been donating to your nonprofits, I'm going to be selfish and donate to mine.
I love that. No,
So
last year you were a huge contributing donor to both Project Intentional and to Lit. And when you said this, it never once crossed my mind that, oh man, she's not gonna. Now I'm like, yes, now we get to like help even another niche, And so this is the way it works. I love it. I'm glad that you listened to your intuition, you followed your spirit and your gut, and I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm excited to see what we do.
I am excited as well. It's been great. I can't wait till we hop on again in a few weeks to give us our year in reflection podcast. Because my gosh, a year, right? A year has gone by, right? It's so wild. And we'll have lots to talk about right after the holidays on that final episode of the year. But so fun to get to see you again and share time and just, share with the listeners all the things that we had going on. I love you. I adore you. And I hope you enjoy your holidays because I might not talk to you before then.
I know. How crazy is that?
I know.
So the only thing I have to say is with the holidays rolling around, everyone, number one, practice your gratitude. Number two, drink your water. Drink your water. Drink your water. You are water. Drink your water. Happy holidays, but drink your water.
Perfect. I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you, everybody. As always, we appreciate you listening, sharing these podcasts with people. I know our audience is growing and hope that we just continue to bring you some information and inspiration because that is what Sasha and I are here to do. So we appreciate you and hopefully you are going to just continue to go and be better beings.
Thank you for listening to the Be a Better Being podcast. Michelle and Sasha hope that what you heard today inspires you to embrace this journey of life with an open mind, a kind heart, and a willingness to learn and evolve. If you enjoyed the content, please help spread their message by subscribing, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. If you have a show topic idea or would like to be a guest, please visit betterbeings.net and fill out a contact form. Until next time, go and be a better being.